Hey, it's Felicia Bender, the Practical Numerologist. We are doing a video series here, short and sweet, the best advice for each life path number. And I've chosen three pieces of advice that if I were this life path, I would have loved to have known maybe earlier in life. And like any piece of advice, if it makes sense to you, if it resonates, take it and use it. And if it doesn't, just, I don't know, leave it at the door. All right. It may not apply to you. And yet, what I have found through my years of experience working with people in their numerology, that these are three things that have jumped out at me. All right. So, also, I will say that if you are someone who watches other videos like astrology videos, that sort of thing, understand that, like when you're watching for your sun, moon, and rising, that you can do the same thing with these numerology videos. If you have a nine anywhere in your chart that is placed prominently in your core numbers, whether that's the life path, the expression, or the destiny number, that soul urge or heart's desire, the birthday number, again, anything like that, these pieces of advice could prove useful. All right. So we're just going to get right into it. We're getting right in. So, the best advice. First piece of advice, here we go. I would ask you to please seek out resources to support things like ADHD, dyslexia, this sort of thing. Now, you may be a nine who does not experience anything like this, and yet I have seen it to be a very common factor because it becomes a part of your superpower. It really becomes a part of your gift and your brilliance and your genius, that you are outside of the box, like you are on the margins. You are kind of that underdog, so to speak. So, with that comes a different wiring that you have. And I have seen it play out as ADHD, as something like dyslexia. So many nines I know were adults before they were diagnosed with dyslexia. They just thought they were dumb, and just didn't fit in and all of that. So I'm not looking at it, I'm not suggesting that you go and get a diagnosis and take medicine for it, or anything. What I am suggesting is that you explore that to understand how to position yourself and how to use that, but also to understand when it can stand in your way, and then maybe come up with tools to work with that. I mean, it could be medication. I'm not saying no to that, but my first step would be, how about meditation rather than medication, right? Or, exploring that. But sometimes nines don't know that they have that very physiological wiring thing going on, because it's so overlooked as a behavior just disorder or something like that. All right, I hope that's clear. So just get those resources and have an understanding of that. And that'll be really, really, really helpful. All right. Piece of advice number 2, give yourself permission to use your massive amount of creative energy. I've got to tell you, I do not know a 9 life path who doesn't have this reservoir of talent. And usually it's kind of this otherworldly capacity to channel so much creativity, whether it's with, and usually, I'll back up. Usually it's all kinds of different things. It's not just one thing. Like literally, I know nines who, they design buildings, and then they do painting, and they write things, they sculpt, they make jewelry. Literally, there are so many facets of creativity that you are just this creative tsunami. And if you try to hold it back or rein it in, sometimes, well, you have to rein it in a little bit, right? And yet, I would just really give yourself permission to know that you are a creative force field. All right. And the final piece of advice is to follow your heart. Now, what does that mean? Okay. cue the harp music or something. That's not what I mean. Even though, a little harp music isn't a bad thing. I should have gotten that soundbite for us. But anyway, follow your heart. What does that mean? It means that the 9 is always going to succeed when you do what is calling you, whether it makes sense or not. And that could be that you want to be, a, a very a highly successful, prestigious real estate agent, say. You want that. Well, if that lights your heart up, and you want to do that because you want to build, you want to have enough money and resources to give charitably. Maybe you want to focus on homes for housing, what is it called, Habitat for Humanity, that sort of thing. I'm just giving those as, throwing them out as some examples. Or maybe you're primed to take over your family's business and that is just not speaking to you. And and it's just appalling to think that your family would be disappointed and angry and this and that. But really what you want to do is go, I don't know, join the Peace Corps, or go, I don't know, play in a band, or whatever it is that is really speaking to your heart and soul is what is going to really open life up for you. All right. All right. So if I had a 9 in my chart, if I were a 9 life path, these are the 3 things I would have pretty much, I think, wanted to know a little bit sooner rather than later in my life.